This is Chamber Voices, conversations with the people that drive local business. Presented by the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce.
Well, hi there, and thank you for listening to Chamber Voices, presentation of the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce. It's been a little while, but it's really great to be back speaking to you again today. My name is Stuart McIntosh with the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce. You can find us online at eralberta.ca, on Facebook and on Twitter at YMM Chamber, and on Instagram. We are beginning this episode with a slightly different direction than we perhaps have done in the past with this podcast. You know, previously our focus has been primarily on local business owners, entrepreneurs, members of business leadership within the community that we serve and work in. But today we're going outside of our community slightly, but believe me, there's a very important reason for this. I'm speaking today to Luca Jungen, who is the program manager for Emissions Reduction Alberta. As the name might imply, they serve the entire province, but they serve our region and businesses here in Fort McMurray. We've got quite a lot to cover, including a pretty amazing grant program that is still available for local businesses to take advantage of for at least a little while longer. But I would like for Luca to sort of get into more details for that. And to have that happen, to begin, we'd better introduce you. So, hey there, Luca. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Stuart. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. So, as mentioned, you are the program manager for Emissions Reduction Alberta. And maybe the question that a lot of people might have is, what exactly is Emissions Reduction Alberta? You know, the Chamber, we are certainly aware of you and what you do. But I think as we begin this episode of Chamber Voices, we should just kind of clean the slate, set the record straight, and allow people to better understand what it is Emissions Reduction Alberta does. Your background.
Right. Yeah, so I'm the program manager for the Energy Savings for Business program, which is being run by Emissions Reduction Alberta. So Emissions Reduction Alberta was created in 2009 to help deliver on the province's environmental and economic goals. So ERA is a non-for-profit corporation. And maybe some of your listeners may be wondering whether we are similar to Energy Efficiency Alberta, which was an agency that was set up by the NDP government approximately 4 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And if they are asking that question, we are very different. So I used to work at Energy Efficiency Alberta, and the agency was closed just about a year ago. And some of the programs that were being run under Energy Efficiency Alberta were then transferred over to Emissions Reduction Alberta. So the Energy Savings for Business program is a component of what ERA does, but they definitely do a lot more than just the Energy Savings for Business program. And I encourage anyone who's curious to learn about the organization to take a look at their website. So that's eralberta.ca. We unfortunately don't have an Instagram account or anything fancy like you guys do at Chamber Voices, so definitely jealous about that. But we have a great website with a bunch of information there in terms of some of the calls that they run throughout the province. So lots of more information there.
And you're on Twitter as well. Let's not forget that. eralberta, and there's an underscore after that. eralberta_, you'll find them. And you're pretty active on Twitter, at least, I have to say. Like, you're posting content somewhat regularly on Twitter.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And there's also a podcast that is run out of Alberta as well. So I don't know if any of your listeners have heard about that as well, but it's definitely another thing to check out.
Mm-hmm. So as you'd mentioned, Luca, I think as we begin, let's make very clear that distinction. So Emissions Reduction Alberta is a not-for-profit organization that is in itself separate from the government. By that I mean you are not strictly a government entity. You're not some subsidy of a government group, right?
That is correct. Yes, we do receive funding from the government of Alberta, but we are not. It's not like Energy Efficiency Alberta, where we were an agency of the government. So we're independent in that sense.
there is a lot that you do. And again, we would direct our listeners to your social media platforms and your great website, eralberta.ca, to really get into the weeds as to what it is that you can offer small businesses and medium-sized enterprises. But the one that really we want to touch on today is, I mean, this is huge. We talk about grant programs with the Chamber of Commerce all the time. I mean, it's something that we are really passionate about, is ensuring that our businesses and our membership are aware of each and every opportunity to the best of our ability that they can apply for and that they can participate in. Right. ERA right now is offering energy savings for business. This program's been going on for, well, at least a few months, at least the majority of this year and perhaps into 2020. But it's pretty substantial. Like, the numbers we're talking here are pretty substantial when you're talking about grant funding and having an opportunity to grow your business or improve your business.
Yeah. So there's $55 million available through this program. To date, we've reserved approximately 50% of the funding available. So that means projects have submitted applications and they're now either completing or have completed their projects. So that's why those funds are reserved. But yeah, I'm really excited to be part of the Chamber Voices today and just really try to encourage people to submit applications for the remaining 50% of the incentive funds available. This is a first come, first serve program. So we've been around since we've been accepting applications since February of this year. So we've had definitely a high amount of demand in the first couple months here. Just these programs don't always stay along forever, right? So it's if anyone's thinking about completing a project or has completed a project recently and maybe didn't hear about our program, please go on the website. There's no cost involved. It's straightforward. It's easy to submit your information and just register for the program, submit an application, and then expect to hear back from us in a short amount of time to get pre-approval for your application.
Yeah, let's not gloss over this. 55 million Canadian dollars has been made available to Alberta businesses. We were talking before the show, Luca, and you'd mentioned to me a couple of statistics. So basically, in a summary, this program is designed to support 160,000 plus small and medium scale enterprises in Alberta, as well as non-profit social profits within the province. That's a tongue twister. Nonprofits and social profits. And to be clear, the goal of this funding is, as the name might imply, to improve the efficiency of your brick and mortar, of your operations, right? Primarily?
Yeah, exactly. So we're trying to encourage facilities within the province, contractors, business owners to participate in this program, save money, encourage people to, either rehire staff or hire new staff, because we all understand after COVID, it's tough to get your business back up and running for some people, and anything you can do to lower your utility costs, to be more competitive, we know that's key for business owners. So that's really the intent of this program, is to help people save money, install efficient equipment, and get back to, I guess, normal business.
Exactly. Everything helps. Everything plays a part. So what Luca's talking about is, when you're upgrading your facilities, when you are introducing new energy efficiencies into your building, that's going to, it will allow you the opportunity to have more wiggle room on your bottom line to perhaps promote recruitment or some other aspect of your business. So you can find all this information on the website eralberta.ca. However, Luca, would you be able to give us sort of a quick look at what some examples of businesses or industry sectors might be eligible for some of this funding? And then we'll talk numbers. We already dropped the big number, the 55 million, but we'll talk the smaller numbers, what the individual organizations might be able to claim for themselves.
Right. So projects are able to get up to $250,000 per project in terms of incentives, and up to $500,000 per parent company. So I can go into a bit more detail there. When we say $250,000 per project, that just means for one application. However, we understand that sometimes at a facility you might have multiple projects. So you might be installing a boiler, you might be doing LED lighting. So in a circumstance like that, you could submit multiple applications and actually get more than just the $250,000 for your facility. There are some terms and conditions, obviously. There's some things that you need to make sure that you're compliant with. So for example, if you're a farm, you have to be registered as a business. We generally don't allow residential buildings to participate unless you are a multi-unit residential buildings, and there's some terms and conditions related to that as well in terms of having a common entry space and things like that. We unfortunately private schools are not eligible for if they're not eligible for government funding, then they are eligible, but generally speaking, schools are not eligible for a program. So that's just at a high level some of the eligibility requirements, but I do recommend that anyone interested in participating in the program take a look at our website and look into the details to make sure it's a good fit for you.
If you are a business owner and you own your property, let's say, for example, in the case of Fort McMurray, maybe you own a spot downtown and you're looking to find a way to save some money through, I don't know, improving insulation or cutting down on your electricity bill, like you said, Luca, by installing LED lights. Like these are things that are eligible. You're a private business, you have a facility, you are essentially eligible to go for this funding, right?
That's right. Yeah. So basically, if you're a business in Alberta, chances are you're eligible to participate in this program. There is obviously some fine print. You have to look at the details and the terms and conditions, but generally speaking, this is a stimulus program that is meant for businesses in Alberta. So with that said, chances are if you're listening to this and you're doing an installation in your business that's improving the efficiency, consider applying to this program.
We are talking today on Chamber Voices to Luca Jungen. He is the program manager for Energy Savings for Business. This is a program that is designed to support you. If you are a business owner and you own a facility and you are looking for ways to make it more efficient, to save some money, help out your own bottom line, this is what this is for. Cannot stress this enough. We're talking $55 million in total funding available, and there is still nearly half of that available to be claimed. When we come back, we're going to talk success stories. We're going to perhaps go into a few examples of ways in which this funding has been utilized across Alberta. That is on the way here on Chamber Voices.
This is Chamber Voices, conversations with the people that drive local business. Presented by the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce.
Well, welcome back to the second half of Chamber Voices. My name is Stuart McIntosh. This is a podcast presentation of the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce. For this episode, we're talking to Luca Jungen. You're down in Edmonton, is that right, Luca?
I'm actually in Calgary, but we do have an office in Edmonton as well.
Okay. Well, Luca Jungen is the program manager for Energy Savings for Business as part of Emissions Reduction Alberta. Luca, it's been really great to get to know you and get to discuss with you this amazing program. I would imagine on the back end, prior to it being announced, there was a lot of work involved in getting it off the ground, and I'm sure there's a huge amount of consultation and that sort of thing, but it would appear that it has been a pretty great success for you and your group, hey?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say one of the areas of greatest success so far has been our solar component of the program. So we actually had so much intake just in the first couple of months of being open that we utilized the budget allocated for that measure category completely. So,
wow.
It's great to know that the solar industry in Alberta is that strong. Unfortunately, that also means that right now that's no longer a measure that's open for applications, but all the other measures on our measure list. So we have almost 300 different measures available for for incentives are still available at this time.
That's right. So obviously we speak primarily to small and medium-sized businesses. And I mean, let's face it, Fort McMurray, we have large businesses operating in our region, some extremely large businesses. But, you know, if we're talking a small enterprise, medium enterprise, your business is the group for which this funding applies. You can learn more at eralberta.ca. Find them on Twitter, at eralberta_. They're pretty good at updating and keeping that feed informed as well. And you mentioned there are more than 300. What was the term that you used just now? 300.
So we use the term measures. Yeah, I have to be a little bit careful because that's what we use internally. But really, that just means technologies or equipment for installation. So that could be, you know, a hot water tank. That could be LED lighting. It could be a combined heat and power system. It's just a term we use to describe the technology that's available.
And there's something else that you mentioned before we took our first break, and that was, I think it really is important to get this across. If there is a business that has already completed an efficiency project, let's say those LED lights were put in 3 months ago and they weren't even aware that this program exists, that's okay. You can still make that application, right?
Yeah, so we actually announced the program in November 2020 and then started accepting applications in February of 2021. So we understand that during that period, you know, after hearing the program announcement, some people got excited and they started moving forward with projects that maybe they didn't think could move forward previously, just due to lack of funding or whatever it might be. So in circumstances like that, by all means, please reach out to us if you've already completed your project, and we'll do our best to help you out. Generally speaking, we do ask that participants that they submit their application before they start incurring expenses. So what that means is we just want to make sure that we have a chance to review your project before you start moving ahead with the construction, just so you don't run into any, unforeseen circumstances or, maybe you're not aware of the terms and conditions of the program. We just want to make sure that you have the most information available before proceeding with your project. But
yes,
to your point, if you have already completed your project, please reach out to us. If it's within a reasonable time frame, we'll do what we can to help you out.
And you're really great at getting back to inquiries, right? I mean, like I inquired with ERA about speaking to somebody and I got a response within hours. I mean, if a business really needs to know something, they can expect to hear back from Emissions Reduction Alberta about this program. Yeah,
that's a great point to make. And I think when we were discussing previously, you had mentioned, there's a lot of people who are busy. Mm-hmm. You're busy enough just running your business. You don't want to be spending your evenings and weekends, submitting applications, filling in forms, jumping through hoops. So I think that's one of the main benefits of this program is that there's quite a few people that were previously involved in programming at Energy Efficiency Alberta, and those learnings were brought over to Emissions Reduction Alberta for the Energy Savings for Business program. So we understand that contractors and participants, they need a streamlined application process. And some people are just frankly too busy to, take the time and fill out a bunch of forms and maybe even read like a complicated set of terms and conditions. We have to put the details in there because that's the legal requirement. But sometimes people are just too busy. So in circumstances like that, by all means, yes, please reach out. We have a stream that's available for participants. It's called Application Assist. So really that's someone dedicated to your application will assist you basically with any questions you have. We have a call center. We have a chat that's available through our website as well if you don't have time to send in an email or make a phone call. So there's many different avenues available if you need help with your application.
Definitely.
I should also mention we have quite a few webinars that we've held since launching in February, and even before that, actually, just up to the launch. So these are webinars that you can watch, at your own time, and they're specific to measure categories. So, for example, if you're interested in doing a combined heat and power system, we have a specific webinar that addresses, the requirements and the process for submitting information for that measure category. So there really is there's a lot of tools available on the website and also through our contact center if anyone has any questions.
This is a really great opportunity, from what I am hearing, Luca, for businesses and businesses that own facilities specifically. If you're sitting there thinking, I have this goal to improve my building and I have this, whatever it might be in a couple of years, maybe consider moving that project up. Maybe you should make 2021 the year that you kind of seek this funding and make it happen for your business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only, as we've already discussed, this is not funding that will be here forever.
Right. Yeah. And I guess people listening might be wondering, that's all great, but how much money can I get?
Yeah.
But on a measure level, so again, on the technology component that you're installing, there are also different incentive levels. So you can get up to 50% of your project costs covered by the incentives available for this program. Mm-hmm. So it, again, depends on what you're installing. Not all technologies are the same. For example, for lighting, we realize that LED lighting now has become very popular. In most stores that you go to now, it's quite hard to find an incandescent light bulb. LEDs are the predominant choice that consumers are making. So in that sense, we've limited the incentive to 25%
Right.
of your project costs. It could be slightly lower than that, but you can get up to 25%, again, depending on what you're installing. For other measure categories, it's up to 50%. So, again, that's for depending what you're doing, but that's quite a bit of funding available when you think that covers
Absolutely.
50% of your total costs.
As an aside, Luca, is it not amazing just what you what you just mentioned? Is it not amazing how quickly LED lights just supplanted all other forms of light bulb? I feel like this time last year you could still find incandescents at a store, and it's you go to Rona or you go anywhere now, and they're gone. It's just all LEDs now. The prices on them have come down. It's really amazing how, just like generally speaking, we are just adopting these new efficient measures for ourselves. I mean, for our businesses certainly, but how rapidly this technology just is being made available to everybody. It's just mind-blowing to me,
Yeah, it's with LED lighting, especially just the payback. It's hard to argue with it. I mean, some people even enjoy the benefits of having I guess more comfortable lighting is what they call it. It's just sometimes the incandescent lighting is just a little yellowish. It's not really that warming, I guess. Whereas now the LED lighting you can get in different shades, different brightness, and there's obviously savings on your utility bills every month.
Yeah.
The installations pay for themselves very quickly.
Yeah, when we moved into our new home, the first thing I did was replace every light bulb in my house with LEDs. Now, I did make the mistake of not getting the proper brightness for my bedroom, and it is blindingly bright in there. So just word to the wise, if you're going to replace them in your bedroom and you don't have dimmer switches, make sure you get the right light level, because you will not enjoy it when your spouse or your partner's trying to read at 11 o'clock at night and you're trying to sleep, and it's anyway. But I digress.
I know. I guess that mentioned, that describes another one of the benefits, and I don't want to harp too much on the benefits of LED lighting, but I can't help. It's just once you install it, generally speaking, they have a lifetime, upwards of 15 to 20 years. So yes, you have to install them, replace them, but then once they're in, if you're using them like you were using your other light bulbs previously, they're going to last a long time.
Years and years, absolutely.
Yeah.
So getting back to the Energy Savings for Business program, and there have been amazing success stories all around Alberta. I was reading a few that you shared with me. A warehouse in Vegreville, speaking of LEDs, they replaced a whole bunch of their recessed light fixtures, and for that they received $7,000 in incentives to get that project done. And there's, from all different price points, all different levels, businesses have managed to take advantage. But there was one that we wanted to kind of touch on, which is a little close to home for us at the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce, and that is the story of Peter Pond Mall. Now, this is prior to Emissions Reduction Alberta, but this is a program that you are still familiar with, and they were still able to take advantage of this and improve their efficiency, right?
Right. Yeah. So sounds like you're very familiar with this facility.
Oh, everyone loves it's Peter Pond Mall. Absolutely, it's a landmark here in town.
I haven't had a chance to visit yet, but just looking at the pictures here, it looks like a beautiful, beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's over a 200,000 square foot mall, obviously located in a cold climate, and running this building can be very substantial in terms of utility costs. So Primaris, which is the owner and the manager of the Peter Pond Mall, worked with Energy Efficiency Alberta to work on minimizing consumption and implementing some energy saving opportunities. So just looking at some of the details, we actually have a summary available on our website. So the main areas they uncovered helped in reducing their electricity consumption. So they have a large heating, ventilation, and air conditioning project that helped replace a 40-year-old unit within the facility. They also identified some low and no-cost energy conservation measures, like shutting off escalator motors at night and setting schedules for the HVAC system and for lighting in qualifying areas. They also replaced all their lighting with energy-efficient LED tubes and switched electric heaters for natural gas heaters. And this is a little bit of a dated number, but as of 2020, Primaris had saved $50,000 alone just on electricity. So this is a 15% decrease in their electricity usage.
Incredible.
Which is huge, right? For a big facility like that. And all told, Primaris has saved 285,000 kilowatt hours of electricity.
If you have not considered improving some aspect of energy efficiency within your business, these numbers, I hope, speak for themselves. This is such a big thing, and it's going to continue to be a major thing. I mean, we see it all over the place. Businesses are just transitioning away from the way things have always been done and moving into these brand new, efficient facilities or improving what they already have. It's the way that business is going, and it's where you're going to find savings and growth for the future. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I really hope that hearing what Luca Jungen has to say today has managed to sort of inspire you, if you are a business owner, to consider applying for some of these grant opportunities and consider improving your own facility for the environment and for your own bottom line's sake. We're so glad, Luca, that you could come on and speak to us today. The program manager for the Energy Savings for Business program with Emissions Reduction Alberta. You can find them on their online, eralberta.ca. There's so much to learn about this on their website and to get involved. One last thing I'll just say, because I can see it from here. It's a very easy process to get started. You visit the website. On the top right, there's going to be a button that says register below the Ready to Get Started tab. And you get started. And then you're put in contact with Emissions Reduction Alberta. And that is where the ball gets rolling for you and your business. Is there anything else that you want to include while we have you here on this episode of Chamber Voices?
Yeah, maybe just building on what you were mentioning about the ease of registering for the program. So definitely you just need to click on the button as you're describing on the right-hand side of the website. And then I understand, obviously, if you're a participant, you maybe don't know all the different details about the technology that you're installing. So what we ask is that you work with a contractor to enter some information. It's up to you. If you know that information, you can definitely put it in yourself. But we understand that sometimes it's just a lot more efficient to have a contractor helping you out with your application. So just wanted to let people know that, they're concerned about maybe not knowing all the details. Your contractor has the ability to enter as much information as you want them to before you submit the application, just to make the application process that much easier.
Well, Luca, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Chamber Voices.
Thanks again, Stuart.